Let me check my voice. I guess my voice is. We have started the meeting and the voices. Let's get started. Let me share the screen first. Okay, give me 1 second. Just share screen and uh, let's share the content. Okay, screen. I think my screen is visible now. Shall we start? Let me give 1 minute. Okay, recording is on. We have Tuna mic right, and let's get started. So let's click on transition slideshow and from the beginning. And okay, let me make this. Oh, all right. So let's get started. So hello everyone. Welcome back to the another session. Today in this section we are discussing and learning about Azure Kubernetes, open source, and the future of cloud native. So let's get started. So firstly, introducing myself. My name is Mohit. I am a beta MLSA Microsoft Student Ambassador. And apart from this, I am doing my major in CS. And if you are new to this community, we occasionally uh, held these types of events where we learn about new technologies and how, as a developer, how as a learner, we can integrate these technology in our life. All right. So in this session, we are discussing about Azure, Kubernetes, open source, and the future of cloud native. We already discussed about open source in our previous. Let me take a pen, I guess. Yep. Let me take the red pen. So we already discussed about open source in our previous session, right? Now this session is more about the Azure Kubernetes. We will learn about what is Kubernetes and we will also learn about what is Azure Kubernetes, right? So the end goal of the agenda of this session would be after listening to me and after we can also do some hands-on demo if we get some time or uh, if we are not running from our time, we can talk about it. So the end goal of is you will learn about Azure Kubernetes and little bit about open source and the future of cloud native. We will discuss this further. So let me go to the next slide, I guess. So so this is the AI generated images. I use AI generated images. I use Copilot AI. So you guys can also check that video. I already uploaded in the YouTube if you missed that session, right? So let me erase and let me concentrate on this topic, what we are discussing further, right? So let me erase this one and let's go to the this one like uh Azure Kubernetes open source and the future of cloud native, right? So let me go to the next slide and let me introduce Kubernetes first, right? And what is the role in cloud native? So first go to the back slide and uh uh right. So let me let me let me talk first about like what is Kubernetes, then we will go in the Azure part, right? So I think some miss thing happening. I was okay. Let me brightness, right. So let me introduce what is Kubernetes, then we will go to the Azure part, right? So let's go to the next slide. Let's talk about introduction to Kubernetes. What is Kubernetes? Kubernetes is nothing but Kubernetes is an open source container orchestration platform that automate deployment, scaling, management, containerization application. Let me talk in the layman word. So what is Kubernetes? Kubernetes is a second uh, biggest open source project. First, we have Linux, we already knew. And the second one would be Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is an open source project which is which was open source by the Google, right? So initially, what happened? Google introduces Kubernetes in their organization, and around 2005 or something in 2000, they give this project to the CNCF. What is CNCF? We will little bit talk about CNCF also in journal, but in a nutshell, Kubernetes is built by Google. First, I think the name of this Kubernetes we call like Borg or something, which is this is the internal tool which is used by the Google. Then Google somehow open source it, and now it is used by a lot of companies. A lot of companies, when you talk about in cloud area, like most of the companies nowadays demanding Kubernetes certification and other thing. We will also discuss this further, like if we get time. So first we talk about what is Kubernetes. So in general, Kubernetes is a platform which automate the deployment, scaling, and a management of containerization application. Containerization application. Let me draw one example. So what is containerization application? We already learn about VMware. Oh, sorry. We already learn about what is virtual machine and all. What is the need of virtual machine and uh, before virtual machine, what happen if I want to make an application? I will deploy that application to my server. One application require one server, but it is not utilizing the server cost, right? So then virtualization come and we got hypervisor and other things, and then we will then we got the hypervisor and other things, right? So then, after hypervisor, what happened? This is a common term which you heard in the developer space, right? That it will run on my machine, but it's not running on my machine. Suppose if I build a application and then I share to the code to my friend, when my friend reaches to his home, then he tries to open and try to build that application in their local system. But at that time, he was getting a lot of error. Then he told me that your application is not working fine, right? So what did? So I containerized the application. What is the meaning of containerization? We already discussed this containerization in previous session. I can give some little bit touch on the containerization part, right? Containerization is like a box or like a container. Suppose I am moving from my town to some other town, some other city, or some other country. Suppose I'm moving from India to Japan, I guess. Let's take an example. If I'm moving India to Japan, so I am booking a container. In that container, I am putting all my like car and all my like vehicles and other things which are related to my household, which I want to shift to the Japan, right? So container is like the application you want to ship to the other. You can share that Docker file to other Docker file, Docker. Then after making a Docker file, then you will make a Docker image. Then you can share that image to your friend. So instead of downloading all the dependencies and other things, your friend can simply run that Docker image and see what you have built it, right? So Docker is great, but there is a limitation in Docker, right? Suppose one Docker got fails, one Docker get hack or something mishappening, right? So end of the day, the application is used by the end user. So to make a better experience of the end user, what we will do, we will containerize this contra application. We already containerize this application, right? So the basic idea of like containerization uh is the basic idea of the containerization is like we have to the basic idea is like we have to ship fast the things and for the user, right? The end user. So manage all this, get Docker to manage all the deployment and the things. Kubernetes is one of the part. Kubernetes more than there, right? So in layman term, like let me erase this part and let me draw something which is let me erase this one. Let me choose the black one. So you already heard some of your friends K8s. What is K8? K is nothing but it's also Kubernetes. Like it's 8 words. So it's starting from K, it goes to the like S, right? So we already discussed what is the need of Kubernetes, why it is demanding in Kubernetes, because with the help of Kubernetes, we can simply manage and automate the deployment like instead of manual. Suppose this container go down, so Kubernetes will help to regenerate the container to heal this container, and it will automate the container. Suppose if some miss thing happening or some Docker container will uh, somehow it stopped, then Kubernetes healing or scaling and other services can protect that, right? That's the reason we are using Kubernetes. So that's the reason in most of the companies nowadays, Kubernetes is used, right? So next we have so All right. I think uh, let me see what. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Okay. Yes. 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 All right. I think some people are joining, but let me admit everyone first. Then we can start further, right? So, people who are waiting in lobby, let me admit all of them, right? So, in setting, I guess there is something notion that people can join. You can start the PPT, right? So, waiting people in lobby is 15 admit. Okay, admit. So, we are not getting any. Okay, okay. Audio, what we can do one thing, we can click on setting. Alrighty. Let me admit everyone and let me start the meeting. I think we can admit the people who are joining late. So let's go back. Let me share the screen. Right. Give me 2 minutes. We will start the session again. People are joining and I did not getting any option that people can join. Let me go to the meeting option, but the meeting has been cancelled. Select the message to make changes, I guess. Thing happened, I guess, in this meeting, right? Give me 1 second. So let me share let me share my screen and okay, all righty. We are due to some mishappening, right? I think my screen is visible right now. Let me start the presentation where we somehow like lost us. I think some people are want to. Okay, let me admit all. Righty. So, okay, let me start the presentation again. So let me go to the from beginning. We can start, right? So what we have discussed so far, we learn about the Kubernetes internal and uh, we can learn about other things, right? So let me first admit it all. I guess I did not know why what happened. Like due to some sorry for the inconvenience, folks. I think some thing happened like in the meeting. I guess people are joining, but they are like admitting we will do it later. But let's start it. Like we already discussed about Kubernetes and how it's helping other, right? So now let's learn about the benefit of Kubernetes on Azure, right? The scalability, the reliability, the flexibility, and other things. So we will discuss more about like all the things. Let me admit first it all. Alrighty. So okay. So let me erase and let me talk about Azure Kubernetes. So we already discussed about what is Kubernetes and what is the need of Kubernetes and what is what the Kubernetes is doing. All right. So the basic idea of Kubernetes is to manage and to automate all the all the things, right? So all the things which are related to the Docker life. Suppose one Docker fail and we want to run another one Docker, so it will help all in this all cases, right? So uh, so we will let's learn about uh, benefits of Kubernetes on Azure. So we are discussing about Azure, right? So first we will go and let's see what is the uh, working, how Azure is also helping uh, the thing, right? So uh, mm, how the Azure is uh, benefiting Kubernetes and how you guys can go and like hang around about Kubernetes and about Azure in Azure, right? So so what is the basic idea? Like Azure offer a lot of Kubernetes unparalleled stability. What is the meaning of unparalleled stability? Suppose if I'm building an application and if I want to deploy that application, right? So I containerize this application. Now I want to deploy this application on the Azure platform. So Azure provides all the things like suppose Azure is helping to scale the application seamlessly, right? Suppose if I want to scale the application, if I want to scale down the application, suppose the user has there's a sale or something event happening, and what happened, right? So I think people are joining and people are waiting in lobby. Let me admit all these first, and we can start it, right? So we learn about the scalability and reliability and flexibility and other things, right? So we discuss about the scalability. Suppose there's a lot of traffic coming on due to some festival or some uncertainty, right? So what we can do, we can just go in the Azure platform and we can use the Kubernetes services and other things, right? So let's talk about reliability. When we talk about reliability, reliability is just like a trust. Like so Azure is a global infrastructure like which ensure like high availability and the guarantees of the application. Suppose it's ensure availability. Suppose if I am living in other city, if I want to access the application at night at morning, so it is highly availability, right? It is available at all time. Let's talk about the next point. Next, we have the Kubernetes on Azure provide. So when you go to the Azure platform, if you're a student, we all are student, we are learning, right? So you can go and use the free tier account and all. So you can make a Kubernetes cluster over here and you can deploy application and play around the Kubernetes services which are offered by the cloud is one of the uh, like uh, One of the features you can say a flexibility, like Kubernetes on Azure platform, flexible to choose deployment models and other things and best suits that which are suit like and which suits on your needs, suppose, right? So including all the premises, cloud and hybrid, we can also perform the hybrid one, other things, right? So let me go to the next slide. Next, what we have, I guess. So where is my screen? Okay, alrighty. So where is my mouse, right? So let me go to the next slide and let's talk about what we have. So AKS, what is AKS? You heard about EKS, AKS. What is AKS? Let me admit first the people who are joining, I guess. So let me go to the people section. Let me admit it all. And let's talk about AKS. What is AKS? Let me go this and we can simply what we can do, we can minimize it. I think we can minimize it, but we cannot righty. So we can just do one thing. Okay, this one is perfect right now. It's not hampering our screen as well as right. So what is next? What is Azure Kubernetes services, right? AKS, right? Uh, AKS is like uh, AKS Kubernetes services is fully managed and Kubernetes cluster and all. Azure platform simplify Azure platform deployment and management Kubernetes cluster, which is provided by the running platform and other things, and also uh it also allowed about AKS other things, right? So, hmm. So what we are discussing over here, so we are discussing about uh what we are discussing. So we are discussing about uh we are discussing about AKS. What is AKS? AKS related to Azure Kubernetes services, which is related to a service which is given by the Azure, like Azure Kubernetes services is fully managed by Kubernetes services like Azure simplify the development and the deployment and the Kubernetes cluster and all. And AKS provide all the running containerization application and all other things, right? Um, so let me go to the let me go to the next slide and uh, let me go to the next slide and let's see what we have. So now we have integration with other Azure platforms, right? So we are discussing about integration with other Azure with other Azure services. Like we have different services. Like we have Azure Activate Directory, then we have Azure Storage, then we have Azure Key Wallet, then we have Azure Monitor and other things, right? So monitor your Kubernetes cluster and application for performance, health, and security. Like we already know this Azure Monitor. Like let me talk about Azure Monitor. Azure Monitor is nothing but Azure Monitor is like suppose if I want to monitor Kubernetes cluster, all the health and all the security insight and other things. So simply I can just go and see the monitoring function in Azure. Azure Monitor like feature when we have the Azure storage. It's already new. It is related to storage, right? So you can just uh, go and try to play with the storage part, right? Then we have key wallet, as the name suggests, like the .env and other things, certification, other things. You can just go to the Azure key wallet and yeah, use it. Then next we have Azure Activate Directory. It is related to the uh, okay. Next we have the integration with Kubernetes cluster with the Azure Active Directory and the centralized active identify and access management, right? So what is the meaning of this? Like Azure Active Directory is related to the like Azure Active Directory is related to integrating with Kubernetes cluster. You guys can go and try to play with the Active Directory, which is related to the integration with your Kubernetes cluster with the activate active directory of centralized. So it is related to like I am like we already discussed like previous session, but more or less like it is the slide is telling and the more or less we are discussing about different services which are provided by the Azure. So you guys can go and try to play around this. I can also share some video links where you can go and try to see and how those things happen, right? So let me go to the next slide. Alrighty, then what we have open source and Kubernetes. So we discuss about Azure, we discuss about how Azure, AKS, and other things. Now let's talk about a little bit about open source and Kubernetes. So Kubernetes, I already told like it is a project of Google, which is first it is called as Borg, then it is called as it is given to the open source CNCF, and now it's managed. It is managed by the people and the community and all. It is the second largest project over here, so it's a community driven, right? Then we have the collaboration. So it is collaborating. People are collaborating with others, right? So we have a lot of people like from other regions and all. They are trying, they are helping, and they are contributing to the project. And Kubernetes have like three or I guess four relation cycles, is like uh, which is like uh, which is we have like four or three cycles in a week, I guess. So um, it is great. Like you can go and we can also give. I can also give the open source GitHub repo of Kubernetes and try to explain a little bit more about Kubernetes. I guess Skates has some six something special interest groups, which is related to some special interest group. Like suppose if I have interest in networking, so I will go to the Skates network part, right? Suppose if I have the interest in other things, so I can go to that part, right? So flexibility like open source, so you can contribute from any places. So this is containerization and microservices. Containerization, I already told, we bundle up all the packages and other things and deploy and try to container this. And microservices are breakdown of smaller things. Suppose there is application of Oyo, or suppose there is application of Food Panda, right? So in Food Panda, there are two, three things. One thing is for the payment part, and another thing for the rider part and other things. So what we can do, the payment and the rider part are do both different services. Now these both different services are known as like microservices, because these are broken down in other services part, right? So next we have cloud native application. What does it mean? So containerization and microservices enable organizations build modern cloud native application, which are uh agiles, right? So agile means is like suppose it is more like the point is set like application has like cloud native application is nothing but like microservices enable organization to build modern cloud native applications, which are agile, scalable, and resilient, right? So let's go to the next slide. Next, we have automating Kubernetes deployment. So CI/CD already people know what is containerization, continuous integration, and continuous delivery. Azure DevOps provides powerful like CI/CD pipelines that automate your Kubernetes deployment. So CI/CD is also related to Git flow, or like we have in Git, we I guess we have some flow or something part you guys can autoplay or something where we can put some script, it will auto the CI/CD part, right? So CI/CD is nothing but it's this continuous integration, continuous delivery. It is a service that Azure like provide powerful pipelines like of deployment, ensuring that fast and more reliable application delivery. So what is application delivery? Suppose this application is used by the end user, and now the developer had added some two new features. These two these two new features are being added by the developer so that the end user can use. So we will use the CI/CD for the continuous integration and continuous delivery. So I'm integrating this, and this will go to the delivery part. So this is the pipeline and other things we can simply set the CI/CD. This is continuous integration and continuous delivery, right? Two and three, you can see that also, right? So next we have securing and managing a Kubernetes cluster. What does that mean? So as of now, we discuss about Kubernetes in general, like we also learned about AKS and other things. Let me admit first the people who are waiting. Okay, we have 4 or 5 members. Let me admit all. Let's go back to the slide, right? So we already discussed about Kubernetes cluster low in previous session, I guess. And here we are discussing about some more like security perspective, right? So what did this mean, bro? Like it is the meaning of this is like we are securing our cluster. So we have deployed some application in the Kubernetes cluster, and the cluster is now We have a lot of features and security inbuilt features. We have role-based. Role-based is related to, like, suppose there's an organization. In organization, many developers work, but there is have a certain access and certain password which is given to some of the people, and that much people only can like see another thing, right? So let me go to the next slide. What we have so over here, so real world use case and customer success stories. So organization across industry have adopted Azure services and other things. So like in general, like AKS or like AKS, like Azure Kubernetes Services is used by a lot of businesses and other things, and organizations are using it, right? So, so if you guys are like want to play around Azure, so you can just go and try to go to the website page, and you guys can simply go to the Fear the account and try to play around, try to build an application, try to deploy Kubernetes on Azure, and try to perform the different services, right? So let's go to the next slide. What we have, I guess we are fine. So thank you so much, folks, for joining this session. And I think this session is more about Azure, and in general, we talk about Kubernetes vision, learn about little bit about Docker and little bit about containers and other things. But we will discuss Docker in a in-depth video, in that next session. But we have some time, so I can give some uh, K8s, GitHub important documentation where you can get started, right? And I can also provide some other links which is are more relevant if you are building an application and try to play with the Azure Kubernetes services and other things. And let me admit first all the people, sorry for the inconvenience. I guess some mishappening or some settings has been changed from me so that the people cannot join. But let me go back and try to open my Chrome and let me see. Let's go discard. So we have already learned all about things, right? So now what we are thinking to learn about K8s in general. Let me go to the K8s dev part, I guess. K8s Kubernetes dev. So if you want to contribute to open source on in Kubernetes, so this is the website link. I can give this link to the people in the WhatsApp group, in the WhatsApp Telegram group, other things in the community session. But in general, like what I was telling, this is the Kubernetes.dev. This is a page of like the Kubernetes contributors. So contributors are those people who are contributing to the open source to the project Kubernetes, right? So let me go to the documentation. So this is the overall documentation and the things um, of the Kubernetes, right? So this is a community part over here. So Kubernetes value, and this is the Kubernetes community values you can learn and all. Let's go to the resource part. So this is an interesting thing. Like Kubernetes also have some meetings you guys can see and run. I guess today is Saturday, I guess. So there is no meeting in Saturday. So let me go to the two. Okay, let me go to the next month calendar, I guess. Suppose if you want to, so I in this meeting I talk about SIG. So you can see this is the SIG. SIG is nothing but SIG is, I guess, special interest group localization doc. So it is related to a document and localization. So if you are interested in, you can join and try to go and try to play around and try to play around the community and try to contribute. Right. These all are the meetings. You can simply go and simply these all are free meetings. This is the community, so open source community. So you can just go and try to contribute and try to learn from others. So this is the main website of Kubernetes Dev. And now I will show the code part and other things for Kubernetes. Alrighty. So let me go to the K8s. So K8s and GitHub. So this is the GitHub page of Kubernetes. Oh, this is the official, like there's this is the GitHub repo of Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is a project widely, this is the second largest open source project. So these all are the people who have contributed to the open source. We have a lot of people like so there are 592 people. These are org people. So if you do not know what is org is like in Kubernetes, they have some different sessions. So if you are contributing to some of project, then you will become the contributor part and then you will become the maintainer and other things, right? So these all are the different projects in Kubernetes. So we have This is the main project over here, I guess. Kubernetes. Where yeah, this one. So this is the main project. It is updated 18 hours ago, and these all are the issues. So if you are interested to try to solve all these issues, you can just go and try to play around. Suppose if you want to contribute, if you are new, so what you can do, simply try to solve good first issue and try to pick one issue good first issue. But most of the issues are already assigned. So suppose if you want to solve this one, so go to this issue and try to solve. And I think we have three people in the lobby. Uh, I think we are just winding up the session, but I'm just uh, giving some important links for the people who are like want to. So what we have next, we have AKS, I guess, Kubernetes Azure Kubernetes Service, AKS. So you can learn these all are I guess free, so you can just go on what is AKS. So this is the full overview of what is AKS. AKS is Azure Kubernetes Services Management. Kubernetes Services that is used to deploy and manage Kubernetes cluster and all. So you can just go and try to read and try to manage all these things, right? So next, what we have. So all right, so I can one thing I can share that link to the people. You guys can also go and try to play around it, right? So let me go back to the session. I think some people are waiting in the lobby. I do not know. And let's go to the chat option over here and let's paste this. Alrighty. So you guys can go this link and try to read and try to build something and try to make your own Kubernetes cluster in like Azure, right? It's very fun. Like you can reference these are all the reference. I think they have video and something, I guess. So there are three contributors. These all are the people who have contributed to this article. So you can give feedback or you can also edit this one. So if you want to edit, all right, you can redirect to the AKS. Sorry, you can redirect to the Azure AKS docs. So you can simply fork this repo and try to add what the things you want to add. But uh, in general, like you can try go and try to play around AKS like in Azure. So simply what you have to do, this is the learning path. I already shared the link. What you have to do, just go and try Azure Kubernetes. So you will redirect to this first page. Now try to sign up for free. I will show simply, okay, two people are more joining. Okay, let me admit and let me see how you can create. So what you can do, and okay, so you can just click on sign in with GitHub and enter your GitHub username and password and try to put that GitHub password which you have already have claimed your GitHub student developer plan, I guess. So this is the Azure free account, like you get 200 credits, which is for the up to 30 days. Then you can move to the other part. But as a student, like if you have not availed the student developer pack, try to avail that with your college email ID and other things so that you can get the benefit of uh, uh, all the freebies which are like being the part of the GitHub student developer pack, right? So let me give a little bit overall the summary, like people because joining are late. So let me give a small brief what we have discussed. So in this session, guys, we have discussed about Azure, uh, AKS, open source, and the future of cloud native, right? So we learn about Kubernetes, all the deployment of the things. We also learn about different technologies, like which is different services which are being provided by AKS, and we also learn about how you guys can play around these all services and other things, right? So we also learn about microservices and open source or other thing. I already shared all the things. We learn about containerization, microservices, and other things, right? And other things, right? So next, what we have automated development. We already discussed, right? So we discuss about uh, other things like security, IBAC, and all, and other things we learn. So this is a brief introduction. The people who join late, you guys can simply message me on the Discord. WhatsApp community, I will share that link because it is recorded. I will upload it this in my YouTube channel as well, right? So you guys can refer that. Then we learn about different uh, use case and other things, right? Hmm. So in this session, like we are running off time. So like in this session, we discuss about a lot of things. We learn about Azure Kubernetes services. We learn about Kubernetes in general. We learn about Azure Learn and other things. I already shared good resources for the folks. I do not know like why folks are joining late. I do not know, but I already shared all this link. So you just go to this link and try to uh, learn this more. If you want to get to more, learn more about Azure, like in journal, you can just go to that link which I provided, the Learn Microsoft Flash, like AKS and other things. And you can also like try to play around Azure platform, right? So I think we have got running of time. Let me like wrap up the session fast, right? So thank you so much, folks, for joining this session. I really meant a lot. Thank you so much for giving your time to learn new technologies in this weekend. I know it's weekend, so that's the people we have few peoples, but it was a great session. We learn about cloud native technologies, we learn about AKS, we learn about Azure Kubernetes services, we learn about Kubernetes in depth. We did not touch the depth, but you guys can get an overview. But in next session, we will discuss about more in depth and other things about Kubernetes and all, right? And let me close this session. Thank you so much, folks, for joining. And yep, let me stop sharing. And let me close the recording as well. So let's close the recording. Thank you so much, folks, for joining. Thank you. Let me close the recording. Bye. Alrighty. Stop the recording.